Hey everyone, we're going to get started here. So welcome. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Kristen Olson, and I'm joined here today by Libby Wilson and Missy Kruger. So thanks so much for taking time out of your day to walk through some of these new features that will be available in the upcoming major release of vStitcher and LOTA 2019 April edition. That's right. You'll notice even before we dive into the software, we've decided to make a change, and that's to how we're naming our new releases. We certainly hope you'll find this new naming convention easier to see what version you have and how up to date it is. So as we kick this off, Libby will be moderating the webinar today along with Missy, who will be running through a demo for you. It really feels like a short while ago we came together to take a look at smart trims, fur, and animation, just to name a few. And here we are again, the privilege to go over a new set of features, including a brand new colorway workspace. It's the first and only solution of its kind for apparel designers, offering full control over all the different colors, the fabrics, the graphics, in one convenient workspace. We're also going to introduce you to our new native physical-based rendering material system integration. It enables realistic-looking metallic velvet, glitter, and other complex fabrics in real-time 3D. And the last topic we'll cover today, and we know you're going to love, is our new group, lock, and hide tools. We've incorporated all your feedback into the development of a new set of tools that enables simple grouping, locking, or hiding, so cross-functional teams can work together on one garment. These updates and so many more are made possible by our amazing group of developers who continue to listen and work hard to make it even easier to design and leverage 3D garments to shorten time to market and significantly reduce wasted resources for a better bottom line and a cleaner environment. So stick with us after the demo. We'll have a quick short Q&A session. So if you think of any questions while we're presenting, just go ahead and type them in the Q&A text box and we'll be happy to answer them. So again, thanks so much for joining us. And without further ado, let me hand the mic over to Libby and Missy.
So hey everyone, I'm Libby here with Missy, who will be helping demo. We are 3D specialists here at Browseware. You may notice the scrolling images in this slideshow, which were all made with our new vStitcher and LOTA 2019 April edition. They look pretty awesome and really showcase what can be done with the new update. One of the reasons we were able to achieve such realistic results is due to our new state-of-the-art materials visualization. We will provide examples and a full explanation about how to accomplish same results. On top of that, in collaboration with our partner Vizu, we've developed a new open material file format, which is called U3M. Now, in a single file, you can have all the materials information, from high-end visual information to the physics properties of the fabric. This single file will allow you to share all your materials more simply. Let me show you what that looks like in our first demo. So we're going into PBR and U3M for this demo. As you can see, so in the previous version, we introduced asset libraries. Going into those libraries, now you can view your own imported local U3M library with just one click. So as you can see, I now have the option to go into any folder on my computer or to a drive shared with my colleagues and use these U3M material files in a 3D garment file. And for those of you who already have a really strong library created, it's an easy process to convert and export your current library to U3M files. There's also a new special materials tab in the Browseware library. This will be available for everyone in the new update. So now let's add some of our U3M fabric files to this garment to help complete my design. We spoke about the new U3M file types to help with your library organization. In addition to updating the file types as one of our major upgrades in the new vStitcher and LOTA, We also have something to integrate support for physically based rendering, also known as PBR. This is a whole new material standard that more accurately models the flow of light in the real world. A lot more realistic looking fabrics coming through. Using PBR, making our 3D materials look a lot more robust, will allow you to have a more realistic output, including special materials like Kristen mentioned, metallic, velvet, glitter, and more. And you can see all of this in real-time 3D. So this metallic PBR material is nice, but let's try to look at another fabric that we brought in from the library, maybe these PVC. As you can notice the difference in the look of the various PBR materials right away. It's great to be able to see in real time. To complete the visual with photorealistic look and real shadows, let's use our integrated V-Ray renderer. Looking good. So fun fact, PBR materials are used professionally for films and animation and were actually originally developed by Disney. We are super happy and proud to be the first apparel-focused software that integrated this system especially for you. As I click on this new material, you can see on the right-hand side of the screen in context view that there are a lot more additional maps for your materials to get those realistic looking effects come through. And just to take note that the material that you currently are using and have will automatically be converted to the new PBR materials. So you have nothing to worry about when using existing materials. They'll come in just fine. And please note that the U3M standard fully supports PBR. So say some new direction is coming into me from my design team. They just emailed me. They want to see what the style will look like with elbow patches, and I'm happy to oblige. So I'm adding my new pattern piece and simply just taking it and dragging to the location where I want to add it. Now I've used our new function attach over on the right-hand side of the screen, which allows me to take this pattern piece into the garment without arranging or stitching it and attaching it like you would artwork. The great part is that this attachment will still read as a pattern piece in the tech pack, and you have just saved a lot of time in your workflow. Looking good. I'm so glad I could quickly change my design. Now I can show off my outfit to the design team for their approval. So getting into our exciting new brand new colorways workspace, we're going to move on from our jacket file. And we'll be opening this new file in Lota. We have introduced a brand new tool, the vStitcher and Lota, which allows a dedicated workspace for colorways creation and management. To show this new feature, I'm going to use this garment file that already has 5 colorways. Within this project, I have the ability to add more colorways and keep designing. And as I'm working and designing in this one file, you will see the power of our new colorways tool and notice the improved user experience. So you can see now that I'm over in my colorways workspace, you can see the colorways workspace very clearly and all of the colorways that I have set up in my garment file. Each row shows a different colorway and each column will see all of the different material types within that color. In the colorways workspace, the user interface is focused on colorways creation from the toolbar on top to the resources on the left and the context view on the right. The materials thumbnails have been upgraded as well, which makes them more visible. We've also added shadowing to the material and removed the checkered background. Now each colorway also has a preview image. As users work, they can see the changes in the preview image. The size of the image can also be made to be bigger or smaller, in order to view the colorways more clearly in the workspace. Another great way of seeing these colorways is the grid view. You can see how nice it is to have the ability to view all of these colorways next to each other. It's a great way to view and showcase these. Thanks to your great feedback, we now have the ability to reorder the colorways as well. And yes, the order you decide will be reflected in the Tech Pack output. So in our new colorways workspace, we can kind of have a nice bird's eye view of our colorways along with their accompanying materials, and we can really start to organize everything more effectively from here. The first thing I'm going to do is add another colorway by cloning. You can see how easy it is to clone a colorway, but I only want to have one new colorway, so let's delete one of those two I just created. Now I'll rename my new colorway to something else. So yellow melange. In order to change the color of the t-shirt to yellow and verify the color and see the changes in larger scale, let's open the 3D window while in colorways. So with this option, we also have the option to undock the 3D window, view 2D window, 3D window, and the colorway workspace all together, which works best in multiple screens, but it's very nice to have. The next thing I want to do is change this green melange jersey to my yellow. So I'm seeing that maybe the background color of this print doesn't quite mesh well with my yellow colorway. So I'll change it to white. Now I'm going to show you how easy it is to copy material from one colorway to the next. So I'm going to add this graphic to the back. And if I want this artwork to be available in colorway charcoal, all I have to do is drag it to an empty space in the artwork section, and you will notice it just automatically assigned. Just one drag, super easy. So looking at my colorway, I would actually like to change the stripes on the sleeves to a different color as well. So changing my accent colors, I like this orange and yellow in place of this red and green. I would like those new colors to actually apply to all my colorways because I'm pretty satisfied with it once I refresh everything. So I'd like to replace them all at once instead of one by one in each colorway individually. Now I have the ability to do this. Once I select these materials, I have the option to select and assign to all the colorways by clicking one button in the context view. And then clicking refresh, I can see those colorways all change at once. Very powerful. So say I show this to my design team and they like everything, but they have a few requests, as often happens. So they're requesting to change 3 different graphics. They want this new graphic to come in. So I pulled in the new artwork. With this artwork added, I can copy and replace the graphic to the 3 shirts with the requested updates. So how is this possible? I can do it in many ways, including using the legacy options, but now I'm going to show a new option using the colorways tool. With my artwork copied, I can just use the new functionality paste special to replace the artwork material in the 3 shirts simultaneously. In the copy paste special section, I can copy and paste the whole material as well as paste colors, textures, or physics, which gives you the power to edit your materials in a very flexible way. So I'm looking at my artwork and I really want to scale this up and move it around a bit, but I want to do it simultaneously and not individually on each of these colorways. We now have the option to do that by linking the artworks. The advantage to this is it will allow me to modify one artwork in one colorway and have those modifications apply to all the linked artworks through the colorways. And just take note, there are automatic links in certain workflows, such as when you clone a colorway or replace a linked material. So you can see which artworks are linked by looking at the link symbol on the materials icon. Now that these are linked, I feel free to edit my artwork. So I'm liking how that looks. Now I want to see how it looks on the other colorways. Now with the linked image, you can see that it has changed the artwork on the colorways I designated. When I go to the unlinked image, that colorway has remained the same, which is exactly what I wanted, exactly what the design team wanted, and we're all happy with it. So now my design in colorways is almost done. I just need to make a quick change to my colors in use. As you can see in the first column, there is that traditional colors in use for each colorway. But then you will see in the upper left-hand side of the screen that we have a consolidated all colors in use display, which shows all colors used in the entire file. I see that I'm using multiple colors that are in the same shade, and this may result in making my garment unnecessarily more expensive for production, so I kind of want to organize that better. So when I hover over the red, I can see that I can consolidate both reds into one and do this easily by dragging one over the other. I've now replaced my red throughout the whole file and consolidated my colors. Nice and clean. I can also change colors from my color library and color palette as well. With the combination of multi-selection and all the new coloring options just demonstrated, this will give me as a designer the flexibility to create and alter my colorways quickly so I can meet those production deadlines. Very cool. So we're going to go into the very exciting group lock and hide. I know this is a big ask. So let's first discuss some of the newly added technical features that I'm sure many of our current users would find very useful. Starting off with a function to reduce points. So you'll see my sleeve pattern up on the screen. This garment started from an imported DXF file, and the sleeve had many intermittent points. I kept one of the sleeves just to show you, but now I can show you, I can reduce all these extra points with just a click of a button. The points are reduced each time I press reduce points button, but the integrity of the shape will still remain the same. It will reduce only the extra points between the corner points, allowing for easier editing of this pattern. Pretty cool, huh? So another new feature to add to this is the option to see the measurement of any edges or internal lines as the material stretches over the body in 3D. That's a 3D measurement. This is in addition to the already existing 2D ruler information. When I click on this chest measurement line, you can see the difference on the right-hand side of your screen between the 2D measurement and the 3D measurement in the context view. On the avatar, the dress is stretched and the difference is clearly displayed. We can also save it as its own ruler and see how it saves both the 2D and the 3D measurement. So now you have a place to record your ease. So now there's some trims and artworks I wish to add to the dress, but before I add these items, I want to make sure my measurement lines stay intact and ensure they are not modified in any way. So we can now group and lock selective elements, which I'll go ahead and do both actions to my measurement lines. Any element that is locked cannot be selected in the 2D or 3D windows, and users can only unlock them from the 2D Layers tab. Thus, my measurement lines are now protected so that either my LOTA user or me or any other user can protect these lines, any internal elements, so that you can add other items on top, such as cut marks, artwork, etc. It's a great tool to kind of be able to work around. So getting into, we talked about group, we talked about lock. Let's talk about hide. There are many trims that are actually assigned to this, but they are really just hidden. So surprise. So if I go to my resources tab and click to unhide as I just did, you can now see all of the hidden elements in the file. So now I want to add a couple of new artworks to the top portion of this style to kind of balance things out visually. So I feel good with how the artworks look together. I just placed them. But say I want to change their placement on the garment without changing their relative placement to one another. So now we have the ability to group and reposition those artworks together. When you create a group, you'll see a bounding box will appear that marks the regions of your group. We can see this group now has one big bounding box. Now that these artworks are grouped, you can see that it has a dedicated context view. And from there, I can move my group 1 inch down. Perfect. And in this group, I can even change elements, either by selecting a single artwork from the 2D Layers tab, or by double-clicking into the group. Easy as that. I'll select one of my lips from the group and kind of scale it down, just like that. I'm liking where this dress is going. Let's have a quick V-Ray preview. Nice. My project's coming together, and all with the help of Group Lock Hide and all of those technical tools that we've been dying for. So one thing that I just noticed and realized, I've been working in all these files the whole webinar, but I haven't saved my work. No fear though. I'm not stressed because I know now in the new release we have auto backup. Yay! So if for some reason the software has closed unexpectedly, now you can restore your work because a recovery file is updated every minute. So worries go away. So moving into our 3D styling enhancements. I'll go ahead and show you a new file. So say I just received a 3D sample of one of our new designs from our pattern maker. And I'm pretty happy with it, but it wasn't really what I imagined it to be in 3D. The sleeves look a little bit too full. So it would be great to have a tool in the program to easily reduce them. Now with the addition and changes to the 3D styling tools, that is not a problem to do such changes to the silhouette in VStitcher and in LOTA. You can see we've upgraded the 3D styling interface over to your right-hand side. We split the UI into different tools. We still have pinch, brush, but now we have the new erase brush. We've also created a new section called 3D styling properties, where you have the ability to change the property of a drawn area into hold, which is formerly persist, flatten, and the new retouch brush, which I'm going to show you now. So I will click this whole sleeve by clicking Control and just clicking. let me try to reduce the fullness by 20%. And this is taking the fullness of the whole sleeve down. I think it looks good. It's more like what I had in mind whenever I was talking to my cross-functional partner. The retouch feature allows me to shrink and stretch areas on my garments without actually affecting the 2D patterns at all. This option allows designers or fit technicians to mark and preview areas that may need further modification. So I think I might have retouched this just a little bit too much. So we'll go in with the erase tool and see how that looks. So you can always modify where you've 3D styled with this erase tool as well. So as it dresses, now it's looking a little bit more natural. So in Browseware, we always like to think about the end-to-end workflow, right? We ultimately want our project to result in a physical garment that is correct to our specifications. And one of the challenging parts is how to relay these design decisions into an actual manufacturable file. So what I'll do is first let the pattern maker know my design decision using our 3D annotations. We'll check mark for yes, X for no. Now the pattern maker who receives the annotation will have technical callouts in the 3D styling, showing all the areas the designer modified and the amount of change registered in the file. This means the pattern maker can effectively correct the pattern to accurately deliver the desired outcome, that desired silhouette that the designer wants. Cool. So that really concludes our demonstration of all the awesome new features that uh, have been worked on tirelessly for the 8.1 April edition 2019. So I'll just turn it over to Kristen to intro Q&A. Cool.
Thanks, Libby. So that was only a sneak preview of what's coming shortly. And as you can see, why we are so thrilled to be able to share it with you today. So we do have a few extra minutes here. And as we said, we're going to go into a short Q&A session. We have seen some questions come through, but we are going to officially open the floor for your questions. So go ahead and type into the Q&A dialog box to the right side of the screen. Just take note, rather than typing into the moderator chat, if you add those questions into the Q&A session, we can properly log them and make sure that we get you those answers. So just give us a few minutes while we gather all of your questions, and we'll be back online shortly. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks everyone for waiting. We got a lot of great questions coming in, and we're super excited to get you some of those answers. So you certainly don't want to hear from me. So I'm going to pass it over to Libby and Missy to kick this off. So guys, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah. So hey, there's some really good questions, as Kristen said. So let me see. One good one is how can I convert my files, my current files that I'm working in, our VSGX files, right? Uh, to U3M so I can create my own cloud library to pull from, right? So I'll let Missy show you that real quick.
Hello? Yeah, it's really easy to convert your files into the U3M file type. So what we've been used to, if you've been working in our software a lot, is something like this for a fabric library. So you may have a ton of different fabrics over in your fabrics list, but the way that we've been working with sharing fabrics so far is we always create a library and then we share this library between users, and then they have to have this library to directly pull from. Um, Now we can actually convert those into this U3M format. And let me show you what that looks like so I can just explain a little bit more what that means and what that facilitates for us. So in this file, this is just my standard knit materials file that I've been using. I can say File Export. And when I go to File Export, in this drop-down section, you now have a new addition that says Packed U3M Library. If you select that and choose where you would like it to be placed, go ahead and say save. It will take just a second here to convert all of these different fabrics over into U3M files. So it's taking the individual physics from each of these fabrics and the materials and wrapping them up in nice little packages for you. So now this file right here represents my 1x1 rib. That's my 2x2 rib. And this really gives us a lot more ability to move around and customize things and be able to just share one fabric really simply with someone. So now that I've created this library, I showed you previously how I can import one of those libraries, and I'm just going to show it one more time, going through the same process I did in this one. So in that library section, I'm going to use this dropdown and say Add Library. Right here is that folder that I had exported that has all of my U3Ms in it. Selecting that folder, we can now see all of my fabrics are now here. So this is fantastic for if you're working with lots of different libraries, exporting this out as U3M, you can really begin to customize your library and create something that you want to be able to directly reference really easily. And since we're here, there's one more thing I will mention that I think is pretty awesome, and that is if you are still using our standard VSGX style libraries, there is a new process to the way that the libraries can be imported. I'm going to pull one up here real quick, just so you guys can see how great that looks. So this is the new interface, and you may notice that dropdown that we had previously in colorways shows all those different sizes. So now we have the option to change our image icon, and we also have a search bar up here. So we can really have an easier time going through this style of a library. Or imagine if you may be considering something like a seam library. In that case, being able to see all those little details, it's very nice to change your icon size.
Okay, good to know. One of the other questions coming in is, do the group and lock tools work in LOTA as well?
Yes, they do, which is super fantastic if you're using different lines as style lines. If I go back to this dress I was working with previously, we can actually see that these style lines that have been placed on the dress are actually already grouped. We have a button over here in LOTA where we can group things, and we still have that right-click menu here. Same option as lock. As much as we may not go into this panel as much in LOTA, we still do have that 2D tab over here in LOTA to undo the lock if we needed to.
Okay, and if that is the case, I know a lot of our LOTA users like to use the hotkey commands for group lock and hide. Are they similar to any other software that we're already used to?
You definitely can use hotkeys. There are always pre-programmed hotkeys in your software, but you can also go find them using the edit dropdown, and here it'll be keyboard. Here it's going to show you all of the different ones that exist, and you can come in here and find whatever options you want. I do know that those are options in here, and there will be preset ones, but of course you can always swap it out with something else that you'd prefer to use. So you can really customize how you would like to reference those tools.
Okay, good to know. I'm a big hotkey user, so that really helps me as well. So another question came in. So how can I retrieve my auto backup file? And alternately, can I choose not to use autosave/backup if I don't want to?
So if you do have an unexpected closure of your program, the next time that you open the software, it will, like many other softwares you may experience this in, give you a notification that says this file, and it'll list the file name, was closed unexpectedly. Would you like to restore this file? And it'll give you the option to restore or the option to cancel. So you can choose to restore the file or click cancel. If you click cancel and maybe you didn't mean to, or you realized, oh no, I actually needed that version, you can also come up underneath file, and there's now an option that says recover. So if I have a version that I have, I accidentally click cancel, I can come in here and click that recover button to check and see what other files I can bring back. And if you prefer not to use that option, underneath your edit preferences, we do have the option to remove enabling auto backup.
So yeah, I'm really excited about the auto backup because I forget to save all the time. So let's see here's another question that came in. Are new lighting systems compatible with the HDRI files still? That's one that came in. I'll let Missy take that.
HDRI files are still the system being used, and just as a reminder, you can always bring those in under 3D environment, lights, and edit lights. We have that drop down to add a new file. So still the same style of lighting.
So, looking at the questions, there's a lot of good questions about the new colorway workspace. I'll let Missy kind of pull that up and see what the differences are between the colorway workspace and your normal workspace.
So in order to really fully allow additional and really detailed colorway work, this is, in case you missed it, an actually fully separate workspace. So up here at the top is this drop down that says colorways. Back, I can go to home, and that'll take me back to my standard workspace. You still have this drop down up here, and you can definitely toggle between everything here. One thing that I'll point out that I think is really awesome is we have these preview images now instead of just colors of each of our different colorways. So it gives an even more detailed look to the different colorways that we have. So you can always toggle between colorways here. But if you want to get into that nice detailed look, using this drop down, we can go to that colorways section. The other thing that I will highlight is I think during our walkthrough, we talked a little bit about these ones up here. And one that we didn't show is that 2D window. So you can still have your 2D window open also while you're in this workspace. We were mainly toggling between 3D and grid. But you can also go into that 2D window. So you really still have all of the same capabilities that you had before, just a lot more that really help you be able to quickly make adjustments, transfer things between different colorways, and add things just in a much quicker manner. That is just really nice. I'm really excited to begin working with this as soon as I saw it.
Okay, so a lot of good questions. We have time for just one more question, and I think it's a good one. Um, can specific pattern pieces like the elbow patches show up in the arrange function with the new attach function?
So let me bring that one back up here. If I take a look at this and go into my arrange mode, it actually doesn't show up as a pattern piece. But if you remember during our demo, when you export it out into TechPack, it will still recognize as a full pattern piece. The reason it's not behaving like that is because what it really is doing is being an attachment. If you take a look really closely here, you can see that the outline here is actually pink, and that means that it's an internal element. It is able to be attached kind of like you would in artwork, but actually exactly like you would in artwork. The difference really is it's a easier way to quickly make placements like this. And another thing that's great about it is it's just a reminder that you can add physics to pieces like this. So if you do have something that's like ironed on, some sort of patch like that, this is a really good use case that you can use to be able to create different types of applications on your garment rather than having to stitch everything. So the benefit here is when I place this piece, you can notice it is fully against that whole piece. I didn't just stitch my edges, it's really just right on there. So hopefully that'll open up some other opportunities for people to work easier in the software showing different types of applications.
Awesome. So that really concludes our Q&A. I'm just gonna, for closing remarks, just pass it over to Kristen.
All right, thanks guys. That was awesome. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. And we have logged all of your questions. So if we were unable to get to yours today, we will reach out to you via email after this webinar to help get you an answer. And of course, if you're sitting there and you're continuing your work today and you think of that one question, always feel free to email us at support@browseware-global.com. Also, just like to highlight to check out our support site at support.browseware.com. It is now updated with all of the April edition release features, including all the information on what you saw today. And last but not least, this session has been recorded, so we will make this available to you in the next couple of days. And again, thank you so much for joining us. We can't wait for you to get started with vStitcher and LOTA 2019 April edition. Thanks, guys, and have a great day.